Welcome to the SwineTime podcast here at Pipestone. I'm your host, Spencer Wayne. I'm one of the staff veterinarians, also one of the owners in Pipestone Holdings, and I'm joined today by a good friend of mine, one of the other holdings owners, Joel Nerem, one of our other veterinarians, our chief veterinary officer, and a special guest. I always say we have a special guest. Special guest. She is a very special guest, extra special. Nikki Stolberg is joining us from an organization called New Roots, and today's topic will be just covering her involvement and our involvement with her organization, which is a charitable group, a mission organization, actually, in Haiti. And I should just stop talking and turn it over to you if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself a little bit. And at some point, I want Joel to kind of talk a little bit, too, because he's been involved with your group, and I have not. So I'll be learning a lot during this morning's talk.
Yeah, I'm Nikki Stolberg. My husband and I are originally from Washington State, but we've lived in Haiti full-time for the past 14 years. Our first 6 years in Haiti, we spent a lot of time in orphan care and just saw parents at their worst and families at their worst. And they'd come to us asking to place the child for adoption, asking to place the child in the orphanage, not because they didn't love them, but because they couldn't financially afford them. And so after years and years of dealing with this, we decided we needed to be the ones to go upstream and to help in generational poverty. And so that's how New Roots came to fruition. And we've spent the last 8 years pouring it into one community and tackling all the different aspects of poverty, from finances to emotional states and trauma and academics.
Okay. I got a lot of questions. I'm already thinking of curious things in my mind about like how and what and where. Joel, we've been involved with New Roots for a while, really through your specific interest and help in that organization. Is that right? Can you just go through our history of us being involved with them?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, I just take a step back and say, you know, the owners at Pipestone, we've been blessed, and we've really felt blessed and felt that we need to give back to our communities, not just here at home, but also internationally. And so we've got a holdings charity committee that focuses on how, you know, we're going to contribute and give back. And we've always kind of rallied around the themes of helping children and helping alleviate hunger. Mm-hmm. And so when we look at the things that we're doing here domestically, we're focused on those things. And when we look at how we've interacted and tried to help internationally, it's a bit the same way. And so personally, I first went to Haiti in 2014, and that's when I met Nick and Nikki. They were working with a group called Children of the Promise, which is a group that Pipestone also supports. And so we met there, and then I went back again a couple of years later, and you had already started New Roots, and so I went to see what you were doing there, and was very much attracted to what you were doing because you started out with very much an agricultural focus. And so, of course, that's at our roots, right? And so you were doing things even with helping local farmers raise pigs. Mm-hmm. And so that's sort of got us connected. And so probably ever since that time, we at Pipestone have been supportive of some of the work that's been done there. We've helped you with a feed mill project that you did. We've helped with various other things. And so, we're just really excited about the work that Nick and Nikki and their organization are doing in Haiti.
Yeah. You know, as you're talking, I think you and I, over the years, would have been involved through our churches in different mission trips or whatever. And one of the common themes is you show up and a bunch of guys from the Midwest build something and then leave. Or it's something, it's very not, the depth isn't there. It's a transaction or it's an interaction. But what this, I think you'll describe it more, is more of what you're doing is not, hey, we're just doing this thing and then leaving or whatever. We did our work and now we're gone. It's really being there to help the community develop.
Right.
For their own sustainability.
And so we're trying to lift the whole community up and just do a whole lot of training. My husband and I don't do any of the day-to-day operations. What we do is we pour into the staff and help train them and raise the bar so that they can constantly do better and better and better. Mm-hmm. And that's something I say with my staff all the time. Like, you've arrived to here and it's great. I'm so proud of you. But now we're going to come up to here, and just constantly pushing them to do better.
I think she has a place in our production company.
She sounds just like a production supervisor.
You're here.
Absolutely.
I need you here.
Try to be nice about it, though.
Yeah, she's like sexy Troy Wolper, elements of Troy coming out. All right. Okay. Thanks, Joel, for that. And I just, as you and I have been part of Pipestone for a while, you know, your mission statement, helping farmers of today create the farms tomorrow. Your mission is really oriented around the farmers. But then it's neat. for me, watching into what we're doing. It's neat to have part of your legacy being, all right, also this. And one of the other things that you didn't mention it, but why overseas? Big driver is your dollar goes a lot further there. And so if you're thinking about where can I make a difference and help, both hunger is a need and children, overseas is a bigger need, and also your dollar goes a lot further. And so that's a good way to think you're leveraging things. Is that fair, Joel?
Well,
how would you
yeah,
phrase
and I
it?
think that we as a company, we're an international company as well, right? We help farmers in other countries, and so we tend to view the world sort of beyond just our borders,
Yeah.
and there is great need in other parts of the world, and that was the thing that impacted me on my first trip to Haiti with my church, was just that the need was so tremendous, and I couldn't fathom it until I had been there. And then once you've been there, you're changed. You're changed forever. And so I think what Nick and Nikki and others are trying to do in Haiti, and they're doing it, it isn't just as simple as going and pouring a bunch of money into something. It takes real work to understand what the root of the problem is, and then to really work hard to figure that and to pour into the people's lives, as Nikki said, to get that done. And I guess my question for Nikki is, how would you really define sort of the root of the problems you're addressing in Haiti? Like, what's at the core?
So when we first started New Roots, we started attacking poverty through job creation. And that's when we started the farm. And we do regenerative ag. So we raise chickens, pigs, and cows on pasture. And people pray every single day for a job. And they just want to work. And they're available to work. But most of Haiti is unemployed. And so we knew that it had to start there. When we first started New Roots, almost all the houses were made of mud and stick. And now today, most of the houses in our community are made of blocks. And the economy has just grown, and it's amazing. But we've realized that it's so much more than just finances. It's a mindset. And Haitians live so much for today that they can't think about tomorrow. They can't plan for the future. And so now as we have developed our youth programs, we're trying to help change that mindset. We're trying to help heal from trauma, because almost all the kids we work with have had very severe trauma in their life. And we're trying to improve their academics, because you can't get out of poverty if you can't use a computer. You can't get out of poverty if you can't have employable skills. And you can't get out of poverty if you're just focused on getting through today. And so that's what we're really trying to do with our, past our jobs, that's what we're trying to do with our youth programs.
Yeah. I was just thinking through this. If you're not familiar with Haiti and you're watching the news, it looks like security is probably a big issue. That, let's say the community starts to thrive. What is the risk of somebody from a neighboring community or something outside force that's malicious coming in and crushing the stuff? Is that a high risk of
It's
what you
definitely
deal
a
with there?
risk. The Port-au-Prince area is a lot more dangerous than where we are. We're about 7 hours away from the capital in a rural village, so we are a lot safer. But we have had our fair share of issues. We've had people outside of our gates shooting guns in the air. We've had a lot of death threats, a lot more than we could ever count. But our biggest protection is our community. And our community knows that we're there for them. And so they're not going to let people from the outside come in as much as they can. They're going to try to protect us and keep us safe. But it's something that we do have to think about and take into consideration.
Okay. So, in also not knowing what the setting is, I'm thinking, mission organizations go to Haiti, and it might be a very broad geography and very broad focus. Yours, you keep referring to the community there. That is one place that you've been and stayed there and developed and worked with, right?
Right. So we're really focused on one small village.
Okay. How big is the village?
About 2,500 people.
Oh, the small village is about as big as Pipestone. Okay, not quite
But
that close.
it's about a mile stretch of road. So it's very densely populated in a very small area.
Okay. All right. And I'm also thinking, you talk about agriculture, where that relies on a basis or on a base of land. It has to have land as a base. Was that land not being used before? What was going on before you started organizing this?
So almost all agriculture in our area is sugarcane. It's flood resistant, it's drought resistant, and it's very low labor. And so they use that sugarcane to create clarin, which is basically moonshine. And then they can sell it to distilleries in Cap-Haïtien and Port-au-Prince to make rum with. There's very little yields, very little profit on it, but it's safe, and that's what they like about it. Once we started...
Safe profitability, safe, like they can make money, at least some money on it, or when you say
no,
safe, what do you
it's
mean?
safe, like it won't, whether there's rain or a drought, it'll thrive.
Okay.
And so there's not a lot of risk in that means. But once we started raising chickens and pigs and cows, we realized we were spending a ton of money every single month buying and importing feed from the Dominican Republic. And the base of chicken feed is corn. And our community has the capacity to grow corn. They just didn't have anywhere to sell it. And so several years ago, we built a feed mill. And with that, we now work with 200 farmers in the community, helping them grow corn, and then we buy it all back from them. And now we're pouring thousands of dollars monthly into the community buying their corn.
Okay.
Previously, all land had been cultivated by hand, and the farmers in our community are the elderly men. And so doing this by hand just didn't result in very good yields. And so we've imported 2 John Deere 4020s, and we help them through our co-ops to work their land, to plant corn so that they can have higher yields. And it's been a way that we can reach so many families, because whether they have just a few stalks of corn behind their backyard or they have an acre or 5 acres, now they have a way to earn at least a little bit of income.
Okay. So you said 200 farmers in the community of 2,500. Is that fair? It's from there?
Yeah, some of those farmers come further out because we just accept corn from whoever. But
Okay.
yeah,
And that's corn, maize corn, just like we grow here.
correct.
Okay. All right. And how does that work with land ownership? Does the farmer actually have his own fields, or is it like a feudal plot system, or like how is it
Most
set up?
plots are about an acre. And so our tractor has to go in and do every little acre
Okay.
one by one by one.
Yeah, 4020 would be a good tractor for that. That'd be
Yeah,
perfect.
we wanted something that wasn't digital, something that we could fix with a wrench, not with a computer.
Yeah, like John Deere right to repair lawsuits and stuff wouldn't apply at all. It'd be
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, Joel. Technically speaking, you're an ag person. Nikki is not, so it's not fair to push her on this. But how much have you been involved working with her husband, or at least conversing with her husband on the technical points of raising chickens or pigs, or the cycle of feed to pigs to nutrient? And is that even something that you've dealt with, or what's your involvement been on that?
Well, our involvement has just mainly been support. I mean,
Okay.
so we made a financial contribution at the point when you guys were going to build the mill, and then even our nutrition team, I think, at various times have provided some technical support as it relates to balancing diets and those kinds of things for the pigs that they're raising. But probably the chickens are a bigger thing, right?
Yes.
Than actually raising pigs. I mean, we connect to the
Yeah.
pig thing, but from what I understand from Nick, you guys have done a lot with chickens, and then the ability again it's developing an economy. Because now you can raise chickens, and now you can take those chickens and you can take them to Cap Haitian, and you guys have your own butcher shop, so
Correct.
they butcher the chickens. They take them to Cap Haitian and sell them to the hotels that the foreign visitors come, and so then they can generate more income to come back to the farm and to help with sort of development of this rural community.
Okay. You mentioned that sugar canes are safe. Sugarcane is a safe crop because it grows all the time. Have you guys experienced crop failures because this corn stuff does not always work every year, where there's great distress in the community, or how does that happen?
Yeah, it took several years for them to accept it. So we had to do test plots on our own farm to show them that by doing it with a tractor instead of doing it by hand, they could have higher yields. They didn't want to do it for quite a few years, but now we have so much corn that we can't keep up. Like, we're buying more corn than we have a need for. So that's been a big change.
Okay.
But some seasons are more successful than others, for sure.
Okay. So as you're describing this, you said one thing that hit me, which was, our buildings used to be mud and sticks, and now they're blocks. And so that would be one metric of gauging, are we making a difference in people's lives, their material lives?
Sure.
How do you measure that? Is that a way to measure it, or
Our community is not the same that it was 8 years ago. When we first moved there, as I said, all the houses were mud and stick. But in addition to that, every Haitian village has people that sell hot food. They have people that sell cookies and crackers. Our community, when we moved there, didn't have a single person that did that. Normally, it's super easy to find a moto taxi driver to take you somewhere. Our village didn't have any motor taxi drivers. There was no economy. And we had so many troublemakers in our community. It was known as a place where theft ran rampant and petty crime was rampant. And so a lot of people called it the red zone. Nobody wanted to move there. Now, it's a thriving community that people are moving into constantly. There's tons of people all over the place selling foods and snacks. There's tons of moto taxi drivers. New Roots actually provides free Wi-Fi at 3 different locations in our village. And so people from outside communities are coming in to use our Wi-Fi. The kids, the teenagers are coming because we put solar street lights up and they don't have electricity at home. So they come at night to sit underneath the lamps to study. And while they're there, they're coming in to buy our clean water from our water treatment center. And while they're there, they're using the moto taxi businesses. They're buying food from the other places. And this money is just getting turned over and over and over and growing. And it's not all that we're doing, but now our community is hiring other people to build their houses. Our community is starting small businesses. And it's something that didn't happen 8 years ago.
How many people are are involved in New Roots as the organization itself? Is it just you and Nick, or is there I have no idea who?
Yeah, so it's mostly Nick and I. We just hired our first U.S. employee in August, and so she's helping with administration and finances, and she's been a huge, huge blessing to us. But prior to that, it was all just Nick and I.
Okay. And so to be fair to the community, I'm just thinking 2,500 people. Still a lot of people. And then you and Nick. And you and Nick, are you working with the entire 2,500 people, or are you a piece? If you went in the community, they would say, oh, there's Nick and Nikki. They would all know you. I mean, I don't know what kind of penetration. It's a big enough town that I don't know what the setting is for the balance of you to the population there. How does that look?
Everybody knows us.
Okay.
So we have about 60 employees, and they're the ones that we pour into directly. And then we're trying to bring them up as leaders so that they can then pour into their community. So at our community center, we have about 200 kids that participate as well in various academic programs, a literacy program, the preschool, the Bible program, sports programs. And so with them, we're trying to reach their parents as much as we can, but we see a lot more resistance from their parents coming in than we do from the kids.
Okay. So you're describing the origins in the city or the village.
Yeah.
It sounds like you just went out and said, where's the worst place we could go? Maybe is that fair, or maybe not?
No, not intentionally. We're actually looking for land that was good for farming, where we could expand. We wanted some trees. That was one thing I really wanted. I wanted to build our house somewhere that had some trees so there was shade. And we were driving, we had our, one of our employees, we told him exactly what we wanted, and he took him to a plot of land that was exactly the opposite of what we wanted. And we're like, no, we're not even going to get out of the car. So we got back in the car, we drove a couple more miles, and I was like, that piece of land has a lot of trees, let's stop and talk to them. So he hopped out, and there was some guy standing on the side of the street, and we're like, hey, who owns that? And he's like, I do. And we're like, well, would you be willing to sell it? And he thought about it for a little bit, and he's like, our community could really use something. And they assumed we wanted to start an orphanage. And so they're like, yeah, and he gave us a really good deal on that first acre of land. And it's what brought us in. And then we have since grown, and we've bought it 1 acre at a time. And so our farm we have about 25 acres right now. We own all of it except about 6, which we lease. And then our community center is 6 acres as well. And so each of those acre plots have been individual purchases.
Okay.
And so it really was just kind of a God thing how we ended up there. It wasn't us specifically choosing that place.
It was you being picky too.
It was me wanting trees for some shade.
Okay, sounds like my wife. Like, I don't like this place.
One thing that just strikes me, Nikki, is that you went there focused on trying to help them economically, right? Like that was the focus. How do we develop a local economy and that sort of thing? But now that's really led you beyond that into helping them with the other sort of needs that aren't economic. Their social needs, their family type needs, and that kind of thing. So spiritual needs, exactly. Tell us more about that. What's having the biggest impact now? Is it youth group and Bible studies? Is it your preschool program, or where do you think you're getting the most impact?
So I would for sure say our community center. And even though the farm is what Nick oversees, like he would agree with that our community center is what is impacting it. We're taking these kids who have grown up in such severe survival mode, and we're helping them dream about a better tomorrow. We've talked a lot today about the academics in our local area and how almost 100% of our kids are in schools. There's 10 schools within walking distance to us, and all of our kids are in school. But yet kids can be 10 or 12 years old and not identify their basic colors. They can get to 6th grade and not be able to identify the alphabet. And so they're going to school, but they're not learning. And so in our after-school programs, we're really focused on literacy, and I've poured really, really hard into that. I've developed a 4-level literacy program where kids are learning to actually read, and they're learning in their native language. In Haiti, culturally, everybody wants to learn in French, which nobody actually speaks, and so it's so much harder. So I've had a lot of pushback on that, but it's been really, really important. And research shows that learning in your native language is vital to success. And then just attacking mental health, too. We have a child psychologist on staff, and she's developed a 9-month mental health program, and she pours in these kids' life, and she's a safe place for them to come and talk about what they've experienced, what their life is like, and to learn coping mechanisms that they've just never been taught before. And then bringing the kids together, and it's just a culture where they don't trust each other, where they think somebody's going to put a curse on them. They think they're going to steal their job. They're going to steal from them. They're going to hurt them. And our kids are developing healthy relationships, and they're working together to help all of our programs run. Our youth, our teens volunteer in our programs. They work in our programs, and they support each other. And it's really, really unique and really exciting to see.
Okay. What's next? You've got this developed. Are you going to build a slaughter plant there? I mean, I'm thinking more technically on the agribusiness side of things. But sure. Is there some next level of development that you think that's probably where we're heading next, or where is it?
As far as the farm goes, we don't have a lot more we're planning on doing. One thing my husband has always dreamt about is if we can get our feed, our corn, to be big enough to be able to sell to other farmers in the area, so that they can use locally grown feed instead of stuff that they're importing from the Dominican or the U.S. So that would be the next big step with the farm. For the community center, the next thing we're doing is a school. And we've always said we would never start a school in Haiti. We would never go into academics for so many different cultural reasons and what we feel like our skill set was. Yeah. But after spending these years pouring into the academics and trying to fill gaps and trying to heal the academic trauma, we've realized that if we truly want to make an impact, we have to do this. And we have to provide a safe, healthy environment where kids actually learn and where they're not hit and pinched by their teachers for making mistakes and not laughed at by their peers and told they're stupid by their parents.
Okay. So education would be some focal point going forward, whatever that is. It's going to be geared towards that?
Yes. So this coming year, we're going to be building a school, and we have opened a preschool this year, and then every year from here on out, we'll be adding another grade.
Okay. And you talk about learning in your own language. They would speak a French Creole, something like that, as the native language, right?
It's Haitian Creole, which is French-based with about 10 African dialects mixed in.
Okay.
So it's similar to French, but it's definitely different.
Okay. But you speak English. You also speak that
yes, we
Haitian
speak,
Creole?
My family all speaks Haitian Creole as well.
I just got to hear. Can you speak a little bit of that to me? Because seeing you speak that language is going to make me smile a lot.
Sure. People ask us this all the time. It's always like, well, what do you want us to say? Bonjour, comment est?
Oh, that just sounds like French. Can't you jazz it up a little bit? I was expecting something more exotic.
Yeah.
Give
me a sentence and I'll say it in Creole.
Say, Spencer, I've really enjoyed being on you with SwineTime podcast.
Spencer, bien content nou te invite moi là aujourd'hui pour nous parler, pour moi expliquer qui ça nous fait na Haiti.
Okay, I have one.
She sounds pretty fluent to me.
She does, I know. Mm-hmm. I've got a friend in Morris where I live from Haiti, and I got to run this past him to see if that's true, if you actually said it or not. So
I didn't make fun of you, I promise.
Okay, that's what I got to check. Okay, well, we burnt up 24 minutes of perfectly good time this morning, and on a good topic, so I really enjoy it. I'll give you one to wrap up a little bit, because I know we've talked a lot about the mechanical things in society, but you were called into the mission field. And I don't know if New Roots has a mission statement or something. I mean, you're a missionary, essentially.
Yes.
You're doing things in a different country, and I would guess at the root of it for the cause of the gospel.
Yes.
But I shouldn't put words in your mouth. Do you want to just make a comment towards that? Because I don't want to be unfair to that. That's a big driver for what you're doing.
Sure. We feel like people pray in Haiti every single day for a job. People pray to be able to care for their families. And what better answer to call than to have that job and to have a job in a Christian workforce. We don't employ only Christians because we feel like our biggest mission place is the workforce. And if we only surround ourselves by Christians every single day, then we don't have time to share with others. And so we open it up to everybody. But Haiti is a very legalistic, their religion is very legalistic. And our youth groups and our Bible program accepts everybody, which most churches in Haiti don't accept everybody. There's lots of rules and requirements in order to be able to attend school. And so we're just so thankful for God allowing us to do this, allowing us to be the ones there on the ground, seeing the difference and pouring into people's lives. It's changed us a ton, and we've grown a ton as individuals as well.
Okay. All right, Nikki. Thanks. Joel, you got any things you'd like to add to wrap up the conversation here?
No, just that we're very thankful for the work that Nick and Nikki and New Roots are doing for the benefit of the people of Haiti and for the cause of the gospel. And so thank you for all of that, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to partner with you. And so we do appreciate the opportunity to support you, and we hope to come and visit you sometime soon.
Great. Thank you so much for your support over the years. It's been amazing knowing you guys are always in our corner.
So, Nikki, why don't you take a second and just say if you want to help, whatever.
Yeah, so we're on all sorts of social media. The main one we keep updated is our Facebook. So you can find us at New Roots Haiti on Facebook. We have an Instagram account. We have a YouTube channel with videos. It's not as updated as our Facebook, but there's a lot of good historic videos about what we do and various updates there. And then our website is www.newrootshaiti.org. If you'd like to get involved in what we do, there's several links on our website for making donations. Online donations, checks can be sent to an address. We have PayPal, Venmo, everything. We try to make it as easy as possible, but we can't continue to grow. We can't continue to do what we do without support of people all over the U.S. and Canada, and we really appreciate that support.
Okay, so just New Roots Haiti and the internet. You've got a web presence. You'll get routed
us
somewhere.
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good deal. Thank you both for being on today. Thank you to our listeners. Please tune in next time for our next episode of the SwineTime Podcast. The SwineTime Podcast was created for the pork industry and individual pork producers around the country. Hosted by me, Dr. Spencer Wayne with Pipestone Veterinary Services, the podcast contains pork industry news, advancements in animal care, and how to enhance your productivity. Find the SwineTime Podcast at www.pipestone.com or on your favorite listening platform.